Creeps, Cretins, Madhouse Maniacs, welcome to the newest episode of the Movies from the Madhouse podcast. I'm Master Seth, your Master of Ceremonies.
And I'm Mistress Dandeli, your Queen of Creep.
The world keeps moving on and things keep happening. What's most notable for us? You went to Puerto Rico.
I did. I got to go to Puerto Rico, which is where my family's from, and it was an amazing trip. It was gorgeous. It was the most beautiful water I've ever been in. I used to live there when I was little, so that was fun. That was something. Got to drive through where my yaya's from and see where my papa was from and go swim in bioluminescent water.
That sounds so fucking cool.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's my goal to bring all of you, all the Madhouse Maniacs.
Jesus Christ. You know how much that would cost? To bring all of our fans to Puerto Rico? It would cost 3 times more than it would take to bring us to Puerto Rico.
It's, it's a dream. It's a wish. It's a wish that everybody could see it. But anyway, yeah, that's what I got to go experience, which was really neat. I hope everybody's had a good start of their new year. I feel like it's been a hell of a start to this new year.
Well, times are just strange all the time nowadays.
Indeed.
Everything's a constantly evolving. Everything's all fucked up all the time. It seems like. So you have to look
evolving. Yes.
You have to look for little rays of sunshine.
Yes, even the smallest things can be fabulous, especially here in the Madhouse.
You went to Puerto Rico. While you were gone, I caught up on some films and other various random things. I got all of these podcasts up on YouTube while that was going on, so you can listen to them there with a little collage of selected still images if you need double the stimulation. I watched Angst. I recommend it. It was a 1983 German film. Felt to me kind of like a precursor to Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, or maybe even American Psycho, just in that genre, that subgenre of serial killer films where the serial killer is the main character. It's the only real fleshed out character at all. So anyway, look it up. Guy was real narcissistic. There are parts of it that are a little bit rough to watch. It's a pretty what would be the word? Pretty precise home invasion film. So, trigger warning, there is some abuse to a disabled gentleman. So, if that triggers you, got to put these trigger warnings on things.
Yes, it's good to let people know.
Other than that, I watched a few episodes of that show, You.
Oh, yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
It's a trash show, but I couldn't look away. It was only one night. I watched 3 episodes. This is a show that's, again, I only watched a few, but upon first impression, this was a show that I thought was like Dexter, but if it was about Dennis Reynolds instead from Always Sunny. When he gets real sadistic about stalking women and things like this.
Yeah, Dennis is a serial killer, I swear.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I like in the newest season, he kept talking about that house talking to him. The mansion was talking to him.
Yes! I love that.
But I can't say too much. I don't want to give away spoilers to people who haven't watched that yet. Speaking of spoilers, we are, as always, I never give this warning, and I always should. This is going to be full of spoilers about our chosen movie for the night. So, that should just understand that.
Oh, yeah, we're going to tell you a lot.
Is there a cow here?
I know, it's crazy. You never know what's going to show up in the Madhouse. There is bells and eating over there.
Bells and eating sounds.
Yeah, it's wild.
Okay.
We'll just be a little louder.
We watched Nightmare Alley the other night.
Yes, yeah.
We watched Nightmare Alley.
I love circusy everything, as you well know from our Freaks episode. I am a gigantic fan of the circus.
Yeah, I don't think Nightmare Alley was a perfect film, though.
Oh, I don't think it was a perfect film. I enjoyed it. I just... It's hard to put into words.
I love Del Toro's work too. I love Pan's Labyrinth. I love Shape of Water. I love
him. I love just sitting and listening to him.
Oh yeah, shit.
I could sit and listen to that guy and watch him and everything about him. He's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. But I understand what you're saying. I mean,
it felt a little disjointed. It was really good at being a film noir.
Yeah, no, he really captured that, and he captured this feeling of, of yesteryear. Mm-hmm. I think he definitely captured that. There was a show that I remember watching. We watched Carnival, and I really loved that show. It was really dark, and really dark, and bleak. Mm-hmm.
I only saw a little of it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I definitely enjoyed Nightmare Alley. I wish that we had been able to see the original with Montgomery Clift.
It's not Montgomery Clift.
It's not?
No. Let me look that
not
up. Tyrone Power.
Tyrone
Power
is that's in the original. I get it mixed up because my yaya was in love with both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was on the Criterion Channel for the longest time, and I had it on my list. And then when I was ready to watch it, it was gone. It had gone away and now it's not streaming anywhere.
I hate when that happens.
So I got to keep an eye out for a DVD or something next time I'm record shopping.
Record shopping. Speaking of records, oh my goodness, we lost someone very, very special. I mean, Betty Davis just passed away a little while ago.
Not the actress.
Not the actress. She passed away a long time ago. But Betty Davis, pretty much the high priestess goddess of funk.
Yep.
Amazing. And if you haven't heard her and you do like some funk music, her stuff is it's raw. It's so good.
It's really raw. I mean,
it's so good.
I mean, I'm whiter than shit, and it was almost too much funk for my white ass.
Good. She is amazing and
absolutely fantastic.
And we watched her documentary, which is on, I forget where.
I think it's on a lot of places. I think we saw it on Tubi, but I think it's in a lot of places.
Anyway, she's phenomenal.
They Call Me Different, I think it was called.
Yeah. I think.
They
say I'm different. Yeah. And I got a Betty Davis record, her third record, for Valentine's Day. Super awesome. Yeah, that was super excited. I think we've listened to it 3 or 4 times so far.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's so good.
2 or 3 times since Valentine's Day, which was yesterday.
I
mean, that's when we're recording. We hope you had a wonderful Valentine's Day.
Oh yes, no matter what, whether you hate the holiday and just sat around and watched movies, or whether you got all gushy mushy with your sweet Valentine,
right?
Whatever you're doing, or all your Valentines, many Valentines.
Swap some floppies.
That's right. Anyway, we hope it was good. We had so much fun here at the Madhouse.
What do we watched West Side Story.
Oh my God.
Not the new one. We haven't seen that yet.
Puerto Rican girl.
I'd never seen West Side Story.
He had never seen it. And it's one of my greatest favorites. I'm not even really into musicals. But, that one kind of, it's a piece of me.
It was a perfect film. It was a perfect film.
Absolutely beautiful.
And right after that,
immediately after,
By the way, we are enjoying some of our leftover Valentine's Day rum. We have been enjoying a little bit of that.
Yes.
So, there might be, I've always got some excuse for my slurry speech.
You're not.
So, but we were drinking Valentine's Day rum, and so I of course got the idea. Yeah, I got it about halfway through West Side Story because it's such a similar story to Romeo and Juliet that I immediately threw on Tromeo and Juliet right after West Side Story, and rum drunkenly told Mistress Dandelion, "It's just as good. It's just as good." It's even better. It's even better because Lloyd Kaufman doesn't leave you sad.
Yeah,
at the end.
It was. He said Lloyd Kaufman is a fixer. He doesn't want to leave you sad.
That's right. He doesn't want to leave you sad.
It was really sweet.
Romeo and Juliet has a really happy ending.
That movie is wonderful.
It's just as good.
I don't know about just as good, babe. But yeah,
West Side Story,
Romeo and Juliet.
It's the only Troma movie that is as good as West Side Story. How about that? It's just as good. Although there's some really good classic High movies.
Yeah, you've been telling me all about
Dude, the classic. I caught up on those while you were gone.
Yeah,
the classic all of them.
See what happens when I'm gone?
The most quality consistent film series I've ever seen in my life, the Class of Nukem High. Every single one of them gave you exactly what you expected and exactly what you wanted. And when there was something that you weren't expecting, it was a positive surprise. It was always fun. Those movies are goddamn fun.
Well, I think it's about time for me to, watch all of them.
You're going to have to. I think we're going to do a deep dive.
I know, we need to do a deep dive. And we were going to do a deep dive on witches, but...
And then we watched...
film, but
Oh, fuck, what is that? We were going to do a documentary on witches in film. Or we were going to do a show on witches in film. And then Shudder dropped that fucking documentary on folk horror. Oh, my
God, that folk horror.
What is it? I'm looking it up right. I can't even... It's got a not easy to remember title.
It's wonderful.
It was fantastic.
It's so wonderful.
Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. The history of folk horror.
Dark and Days Bewitched.
And after watching that, we realized that we were ill-equipped to do a deep dive into witch movies. That's a
kind way to put it.
There are 3 times as many witch movies as I even thought, and it was daunting to begin with.
I just want to watch witch movies every day now. I'm like, oh, God, we have to catch up.
Yeah. I don't know. There's lots I want to watch. I mean, I love the ones that you always hear about. I love The Wicker Man, and I love Midsommar. That's a divisive movie in the horror community. Midsommar and Hereditary are tremendously.
Why it's so divisive.
People say it's boring as shit. People say it's pretentious.
It's so strange.
People say it's unrealistic. People say it encourages rape.
What?
Because that guy was drugged when they brought him into that building and coerced him into having sex with that girl. They're saying he was drugged and raped.
Wow.
I understand the argument.
Well,
but I still think. Nobody was meant to be a good person in this film.
Yeah, I think that. I think it's very hard when people put so much importance on certain things, and I'm a survivor. I'm a like hardcore warrior bitch survivor. But I still enjoy horror movies immensely, and many horror movies are. And
there are certain things that you can't watch. There are certain things anybody can't watch.
There are definitely things that I have been.
It's just whatever floats your boat, whatever you like.
Exactly.
That blah blah woof woof. But
right, all that. I just don't. I don't know.
People get really uptight about shit in movies and stuff now. Things are. I mean.
About everything.
Everything.
It's very hardcore. And I am a sensitive creature, people. I am. I'm also a warrior survivor and all these things, but yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't know, my enjoyment of all sorts of crazy things that I would not find cool in real life.
Right.
But it's just a movie.
Yeah. And I don't think the scene was supposed to be enjoyed.
Yeah, and that's another thing with art. With art in general, if something's not supposed to be enjoyable, then it's not supposed to be enjoyable. Not everything is fluffy and wonderful and safe, especially horror.
Right.
I mean,
it shouldn't be.
How is it scary if it's not dangerous?
Good art, period, should take you out of a comfort zone.
Exactly. My mother was an artist, and she was always very much into that. Either fucking love it or hate it.
Comedy's meant to make you laugh. Horror is meant for you to be horrified. All of them are meant to take you take you into another space, another frame of thinking.
Yes. Yeah. And he says there definitely are movies that I've been too sensitive to watch. There are movies I don't want to see. I don't harsh on the movie itself, or I'm not angry about it being something that's teaching other people to rape women or whatever. That's not my deal.
There is almost nothing I would put under the category of teaching people to rape people.
Yeah.
I don't think of movies that way.
I know, me neither at all. I just want to enjoy them.
Right.
And understand that there's some art that really is meant to make you feel whatever way. Horrified, elated, blissful, and then horrified, whatever.
Now, that's not to say there isn't movies that are just shock for shock's value, for shock's sake.
I'm not a fan of those, usually.
I like them sometimes. It depends. It just depends. I can't control I can't tell you why I enjoy certain things.
I can't either. I understand
If you really get down to it, I bet you almost nobody could. They could say, well, I like it because it's bloody. Well, why do you like blood? The fuck? At the end, you don't know. You just like what you like.
You like what you like.
And you don't like what you don't like.
Yeah.
People ask, why don't you like Pink Floyd? What the fuck? That's like me asking, why would you like something that's boring?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the same with Bruce Springsteen with me. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. I like a whole lot of other stuff. I like lots and lots of music.
So speaking of Midsummer's Rape scene, brings us back to the folk horror documentary.
Yes, the folk horror documentary, which was phenomenal.
Which reminds me, we were also talking about Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Who appeared in another documentary. The Man Behind the Monster.
Oh my God,
I believe
that
it was called.
Marvelous.
That's another one on Shudder.
Oh, it was so good.
It's the story of Boris Karloff.
Yes.
Really good documentary. I've seen better documentaries, but based on if you're interested in Karloff and his life and you don't know all of it already, it's
even
wonderful.
Even if you do know all of it, you'll still find it really endearing. It's
wonderful
endearing.
Appearances by Joe Dante.
Yes.
Dick Miller.
Dick Miller.
Shot shortly before he died.
Yes.
Oh, God, that one guy. I can't remember his name. He's an old guy, old school actor. I believe he was in Being John Malkovich as the real old boss. But he was in movies since, like, the 30s. He was in movies. Oh, God. Something Bean. Orson Bean. Orson Bean. He's in it. Roger Corman. Wonderful little documentary.
Yeah, it's good. Really enjoyable.
Another appearance in that... Oh, no, I already went there. Rum.
Oh, yeah. Rum is fun.
Yeah.
Puerto Rican rum.
Rum. Which you didn't buy in Puerto Rico when on your trip.
No, I didn't want to come back with a Puerto Rican rum. I came back with a lot of Puerto Rican witchcraft instead. I was like, I don't want to bring a bottle of booze, but I'll bring bottles of, other glass things.
Karloff.
Oh, Karloff.
Karloff.
Love him.
And so this week's movie to discuss was Mistress Dandelai's pick. And,
it was my pick.
And what did you pick?
I picked The Black Cat.
The Black Cat.
Indeed. I watched part of it. I caught part of it a few months ago. I was like, we gotta watch this. And he had seen it before.
Many years ago, though.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you picked it, because it was fantastic.
Oh, so fantastic.
1934, terribly underrated as far as that whole Universal Classics cycle goes.
Yeah.
It's never mentioned. There's a few of these.
I had never heard of it before, and I love this stuff.
Also stars Bela Lugosi.
Yep.
This one, and The Raven was another one with Lugosi and Karloff.
Yeah.
Both underrated. This one, I used to like The Raven better, but I think I like this one better now.
This one's so dark.
Both purporting to be based on Edgar Allan Poe stories, and both having virtually nothing to do with said Edgar Allan Poe stories.
Definitely doesn't have anything to do with a Poe story.
No. No. Well, there is a black cat in it.
Yeah, which almost seems quite strange and disjointed.
It's thrown in?
Yeah, thrown in.
So you could stick an Edgar Allan Poe? But, you gotta
do what you gotta do.
They do try, and also the cat can come back.
Yeah.
The cat seems to come back, so that's also an allusion to the Poe story.
They get into the whole, the cat comes back. Black cats never die.
Right. They're a deathless creature.
Yeah, I wish that was the case.
A deathless creature.
I so wish that was the case. But yeah, deathless creature. I love the idea of it.
Yeah. Oh God, it was so dark. Such a dark film.
Yeah, it kind of blew my mind. I mean, when I first caught part of it, I was stunned.
It's ahead of its time.
I was stunned. I was like, why didn't you tell me this movie existed? Basically, I don't know.
I apparently didn't appreciate it when I first saw it. I probably saw it sometime in my 20s.
It's
probably so this would have been fucking late 90s, early 2000s that I probably saw this movie.
Yeah, this movie is dark and full of some craziness, and Karloff and Bela Lugosi, and man, there's like Satanism.
There's Satanism
and like necrophilia.
Yeah, I mean it's not overt necrophilia, but it's certainly alluded
definitely,
to.
And like full like black mass 1930s Satanism.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in this film.
So there's a lot.
It's great.
So maybe we should get into it.
Let's get into it. It's a short film.
It's a wonderful way to spend. How long is it? 69 minutes or some such shit.
Yeah.
It's 66 minutes.
Yeah.
So just over an hour. Think about how little time an hour is.
Not so much time. Most shows are an hour now.
Yeah. Go watch The Black Cat.
Yeah, it's wonderful. You will not regret it.
You will not regret it. Directed by Edgar G. Ulmer. I looked him up. Didn't do a hell of a lot I was familiar with, although had a long career. I think he went into the early 60s directing things.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I really loved pretty much every moment of this movie.
I think it was pretty goddamn
even the cheesy
perfect.
parts. There were a couple cheesy moments.
So, yeah,
you know?
These early Universal films, they'd always have those little bits of comic relief, you know? Bride of Frankenstein was full of them.
Oh my god.
She would show up in these movies and have those.
She was like that piece of vaudeville.
She was comic relief. What the fuck was her name? I can't remember. I should know that.
She's so funny.
I should know that. But you know who I'm talking about. That woman in Bride of Frankenstein. She's also in The Invisible Man.
Yes.
Playing the same character,
basically the same character.
Invisible Man is full of comic relief moments, and that movie's darker than shit.
And sadistic.
Yes.
Yeah, that is The Invisible Man, too. Mm-hmm.
God, I love that movie.
Yes.
Slightly underrated, but not as underrated as The Black Cat.
Yeah.
Or another underrated one, starring Bela Lugosi, was in a side role was Island of Lost Souls.
Oh, wonderful!
Island of Lost Souls is fucking terrifying.
Great, so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's really, and you're right, very underrated. But I can't believe I'd never even heard of this at all, ever in my whole life.
Well, there's been a few movies with this title, so it's easy to get them mixed up,
Yeah.
From all over the world.
Right.
Italians make them and shit. Dario Argento made a version of it for that movie Two Evil Eyes with half of it was Romero, half of it was Argento. Argento did The Black Cat. Romero did The Case of M. Valdemar, or whatever it was called.
Oh, yeah.
Adrienne Barbeau was in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I do.
That was good. I thought Argento's segment was better than Romero's, which pains me to say because I'm such a Romero nut. But Argento's a genius, too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Black Cat.
Well, fuck. Okay, The Black Cat, 1934. We start off with our couple, the Andersons. Riding a train.
They're the Allisons.
The Allisons. I'm sorry, the Allisons.
I was like, wait a minute, that's not right.
No, it's not right.
Yeah, the Allisons, and they're lovely.
They're lovely.
Splendid.
I can't tell. Maybe I missed a line or something. I can't tell if they're on their honeymoon or if they're just traveling. I'm not even certain if they're married or not. I guess they are. They're married. They're married.
Yeah, at first I didn't know, but I think they're married, and they may be on their honeymoon.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Now, these are going to be our supposed protagonists of the film. I guess in 30s movies, you needed somebody to be just like the good guys. Maybe that's what it is. So they just they put these people in. Now, these people do serve a purpose, but they are not our main characters.
No, not really. But they're there all the time.
They're there all the time. Our first major main character shows up right about now. Where when the young couple is informed in their train car that the train has been overbooked and they need to throw Bela Lugosi in there.
Yes.
They're like, okay, that's fine.
They're very polite. Fine. They're polite and they're not afraid of him, and he's a lovely gentleman, and Very polite.
As unmenacing as Bela Lugosi can be.
Right?
Because the guy kind of just had a natural air of menace about him. And maybe that's not true. Maybe this is my... I'm born and raised in Eugene, Oregon. And maybe this is just my... his Hungarian accent sounds like a movie villain to me.
Well, he's Dracula, and so it's hard to
That's
get
true
past
too.
that. The
That's
reality
true, too.
is that his Dracula performance is so huge that he is the perfect villain. He's the perfect vampiric villain.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly polite and dangerous.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to get away from that role.
That's true. That's true.
Very difficult. I mean, he does his acting role in a few other films where, like, he plays the hunchback, and in what was that movie? The Son of Frankenstein? What's that movie?
It was Son of Frankenstein.
Yeah. So
And Ghost of Frankenstein, both of them.
Right. And so even though it was like a small little role, it's still like that character, the assistant.
Yeah.
And his role in oh shit.
Island of Lost Souls?
Yeah, Island of Lost Souls. That was outrageously amazing.
Yeah.
It took
as
him
the sayer of the law.
Yeah, it took us so far from Dracula that we just got to focus on that character. And this, he's still very similar in that way with his slick back hair,
right?
His fine clothing. That's maybe why, in my opinion, anyway, rather than just his Hungarian accent.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm trying to expose my ignorance and how it becomes a form of being frightened. I'll own up to my to my stereotypes. Anyway,
Well,
that went all kinds of places I wasn't planning.
Good for you.
So Bella's hanging out with these folks, and they're making their small talk and stuff, and of course people will fall asleep in a sleeper car. So this couple is asleep, and Bella starts caressing that woman's hair.
That was so weird.
That was
like,
weird.
Oh, instantly, I was like, creep.
Yeah.
And then, my mind changes through the movie. But at that very moment, I'm like,
they're setting it up. They're setting you up to think that Bela Lugosi's this villain.
Ew.
Yeah.
Now,
Not to say he's a good guy. There aren't any real good guys in this movie.
I think he's kind of
You
a good
think?
guy. Yeah.
You think?
I do.
Okay, we'll get into that argument later.
We'll
get into
debate that later.
Because there's a certain thing that happens.
Yeah, there's a certain thing, and we'll talk about that because I think he's the good guy.
Yeah.
Even though he does caress that lady's hair, and that is definitely
weird.
Fucking weird.
Another weird thing is that the husband, he looks over at the husband, and the husband's awake.
Oh yeah,
and
that
glaring
moment.
at him.
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
He's like, oh shit, and takes his hand away.
I beg your pardon, or something.
Yeah.
Shit.
I beg your pardon. What the fuck are you doing to my wife's hair?
Yeah.
You fucking old creep.
Yeah, definitely. And he goes into like how he was once married and how he had to go to war and leave his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And
how he's been in prison for the past 15 years.
Then he starts talking about some crazy ass fucking prison that nobody ever gets out of.
Yeah, nobody gets out of, right?
Yeah, nobody gets out of this prison, but he's back.
Apparently his war experience was horrible. He said those who died were the lucky ones.
Yes.
But I was imprisoned.
Yeah, in a place where no one gets out of.
Yeah.
I mean, he makes it it seem very terrifying.
Right.
And
now...
And then he's like, I've come back.
Yeah. So wait. You've been in prison for the past 15 years, and the first thing you decide to do is start rubbing my sleeping wife's hair?
Yeah, right. And then tell me that you just came from prison?
Right. Why were you rubbing my wife's hair? Well, let me explain. I'm a terrible imprisoned scumbag, and I just got out. Yeah. I really needed to rub some lady's hair.
Just the aura of her hair.
Yeah.
He doesn't actually touch the hair. He just touches around.
Of course he doesn't touch the hair. You know how much they were spending on hairstylists in those 30s movies?
Yeah, they didn't have fucking hairspray then.
Just have goddamn Bela Lugosi coming around fucking everybody's hair up.
I don't believe they had hairspray in the 30s. That shit's hard to...
They had some pomade, though.
Yeah.
As this movie proves, not only Bella's slicked back hair, but, well, we'll get to it. We'll get there. They get done with their train ride, and they all hop in a cab.
It's like a weird bus.
It's kind of like a weird little bus.
A little bus cab thing.
And they're in there, the Bella and his servant.
Yeah.
And the Allisons.
And the Allisons.
And the driver. And he's driving, and he's decided he's just going to scare the living bejesus out of him. I mean,
what's with the servant, anyway? Is the servant, like, I don't know. Is it one of those things where, back in the day, where it's just, like, oh, let's throw this white guy in and, like, make him fucking some completely different race? I feel like that's what's going on right there. You know?
One of those.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Absolutely. I think that happened so much back then.
Oh, yeah, of course. Shit. Watching that documentary on Karloff,
Karloff,
we
one
heard
of his
about...
biggest roles.
One of his biggest roles was Fu Manchu.
Yeah. That's
Shit used to happen all the time.
I love how he put it in the movie when they talk to him about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is like, there was no... They asked, oh, did you have someone on the film that was, helping, like a consultant? And he was like, no, they didn't have anyone. It was like ridiculous. Yeah. They didn't... Him just being like, oh my God. In shock himself over it. You know? But yeah, back to his servant, his manservant.
Yeah, Bella's servant, and Bella and his servant and the Allisons, and the driver's telling him these fucking horror stories about the war, He's like, oh, this over here.
Yeah.
It was piled 12 high with bodies. They say they were...
Yeah, it's like...
Blood was all over the goddamn place.
The little tour of death.
Yeah.
And how it was the greatest, most terrifying graveyard. Bodies 12 deep.
Yeah. Yeah, massive, major battlefield in this war.
Yes.
What war they're talking about, I'm not certain. Maybe World War I?
I don't know.
I don't fucking know. Probably some European war I don't know anything about.
We should have done some digging on that one.
I studied when I was in school. I'm done studying.
Either way, it was bodies, piled 12 deep and thousands of people dead. And
yeah. And then to bring the scares to an all-time high, he crashes the goddamn bus and dies.
Yeah, he dies.
In the crash. Everybody else gets out, but the driver dies. As Bela Lugosi so eloquently says, the driver is dead. Yes. And they just happen to crash right outside this super ultra modern looking mansion. This is you can tell that. So this is like one of the more
fortress.
Yeah, this is one of the more interesting things about the movie is that what this movie was supposed to have. I'm not saying from a script. I'm just saying in the human mind, what happens next in this movie is supposed to be. They're going to go to a big gothic mansion,
yes, Yes.
Maybe there's even a fucking moat,
Yeah.
And all this shit. But no, they come to something that looks like what in the 1934 they were saying the future was going to look like. They go to this building that looks like something out of fucking Metropolis.
Yeah, absolutely. You get inside and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's like mid-century modern, but not. It's so far beyond that. Because it's a 1930s movie.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
And this just happens to be the exact place where Bela Lugosi was planning on going.
Yeah,
to visit his old friend. Yes, Bela Lugosi's character is...
Vitus Verdergast.
Yes. And what is... And he's going to visit his quote-unquote friend.
Yes. Perlzig.
Yeah.
Mr. Perlzig. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just going to call him Karloff probably throughout the remainder of the show.
Herr Perlzig.
Herr Perlzig.
What's his first name, though?
I don't remember. I remember it was long and it had a lot of consonants.
I had it written down in my weird notes, but oh well.
It's not important.
Alas, he is Herr Perlzig.
Karloff, the uncanny.
Yes, Karloff, the uncanny. He has an intercom system in his house. In the 30s.
Yeah, when they go up to when Bella and crew go up to the door, And then Karloff's man answers, and Bela's
Yes.
like, he'll be expecting me. Tell him, Dr.
Verdegast.
Dr. Verdegast is here. He'll be expecting me.
Yes.
And,
They have, Miss Allison is injured.
yes, she's fainted. She's dead fainted, and Bella's servant is carrying her. Mr. Allison is along, too.
Well, she's actually injured, though. She, got hurt.
Yeah.
She didn't just faint.
Right. So Bela wants to rush her in there. So he's a doctor. Mm-hmm. He wants to rush her in there so that he can give her the medical attention she needs. An intercom goes off in Karloff's bedroom saying, Verdegast is here. And he sits upright like a robot.
Yeah,
and
like
he's
a
next
robot.
to a woman who looks like she's probably dead.
She might be dead.
She might be dead. He just gets up and leaves the room. And he comes out
Wow.
He comes out looking like the world's oldest psychobilly.
Oh my God, for real.
His hair is just perfectly coiffed up and
Yeah.
so widow's peaked.
It is.
It's like this weird widow's
perfect.
peak pompadour.
It's almost like so punk rock for its time. It's just crazy. This psychobilly aspect to, I don't know, very cool. This perfect V.
Yeah, yeah.
So good. So good.
Just
Kudos
menacing
to
as
the
shit.
fucking-
Menacing as all hell can be.
His outfit, everything. Oof. Terrifying.
Bela takes care of the woman a little bit. She's helping.
Hurt. He
That's when
gives her some knockout
Karloff comes.
drug.
Yeah, he gives her some shit. Says if she sleeps through the night, she'll be fine. You know. And that's when Karloff comes in to check on what's going on, and we can see that they know each other.
Yes.
But we don't really know how.
Yeah,
it seems mysterious.
He says earlier in the film that he's going to visit a friend. But the way he says friend is like, I don't know. I don't know if they're really friends. Yalmar, that's his name.
Yalmar. Okay, sure.
Yalmar Perozig.
Okay, fine.
Yes. He's the one that he sold that whole area, basically sold them off to the Russians.
Yeah, well, that's what's next in my notes is that we get to Bella's monologue.
Yeah.
Bela does a great monologue.
Yeah.
Just spouting it at Karloff, and Karloff is just sitting there, staring him down.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he looks like he's a fucking snake.
Yeah.
He reminds me of a snake
He's
that's
very-
ready to strike.
Yes. Yeah, that's a really...
Maybe not ready to strike, but is prepared to strike
Yes.
if need be.
Yes.
He's just staring Lugosi down.
Yeah.
And Lugosi's giving this fantastic speech.
So good. Ugh.
You sold this, and now you built your home
On a masterpiece of murder.
Yeah, on a masterpiece of murder. Your masterpiece of architecture.
Yes, because
on top
he's
of the
an architect.
masterpiece of murder. Yeah, he's an architect.
Yeah, he's an architect, and he's talking about destruction and how it's built on just
Yeah.
murder. Yeah, and goes off on how he was in Kurgal,
Yeah.
the prison, for 15 years.
Where is my wife?
Yeah.
Where is my daughter?
Karen.
And
his
what does he
wife.
tell him? Did he tell him that they're dead?
Yeah, he says that they died, both of them. Yeah, that they're both just dead.
Yeah.
And Dr. Verdegast knows better.
And he's telling him, he's like, I'm here to kill your soul.
Yeah, slowly.
I'm here to kill your soul slowly.
Slowly. Mm-hmm.
And Karloff's response is just kind of like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
We can do that, but we gotta wait until these people are gone.
Yeah.
We can't do it while these people are
He
here.
literally is like, we can play games of death,
Yeah.
but once we're alone,
Yeah.
which, seems at that moment, you're like, oh, okay, like, he's a bad guy, but he's gonna keep it between them. Yeah, right. Like...
So we have this get together between Karloff and Lugosi and Mr. Allison.
Yes.
And they're hanging out. They're like having drinks or something. And when he's around, Bela and Boris are like nothing but compliments.
Oh yeah, when
he's the
Mr.
greatest
Allison-
architect in
yes.
the world. Well, he's the greatest doctor in the world,
He's
and
a
so
great
forth.
psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they are really, there's a tension between them, but it's such a secret that they misrepresent themselves.
Yes.
They misrepresent their relationship
Absolutely.
to others. You know, like as if they're just old friends.
Yeah, old friends.
It's strange.
It is. It's very, very odd, and they play up on it a lot.
They do. And then, here our title character comes into the room. Here we see that coming down the hall, this black cat.
Oh yes.
Bela fucking freaks out.
Yeah, he just flips the lid, throws a knife
Screams.
at
He
it.
throws a fucking knife at it. You hear it yowling,
Yeah.
and they mention that he killed it.
Yeah, they mention later that he killed the cat. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
Mrs. Allison shows up.
Yeah, then Mrs. Allison shows up. She's wandering around like a fucking zombie.
Yeah, and she is definitely not herself.
No.
She has she feels very different.
Yeah, and she's saying all this cryptic shit.
Yeah, she is.
She goes up to Bela, is like, "Are you afraid, doctor?" And turns to Karloff. "You are our host."
Yeah, it was very weird.
It was weird.
He mentions that later. She goes up and starts making out with her husband.
Yeah,
which is something that ladies definitely didn't do.
Right.
Back, you know what I mean?
And Karloff looks pissed off.
Yeah, he is bothered.
When they're making out.
Yeah, he's really bothered by that. You know, it's weird.
Kind of a weak spot of the movie, really, because it's this part's never explained further. We don't know why she was acting that way, because she wakes up the next day and has no memory of it.
Well,
and she doesn't act that strange
They
again.
mention it again. They mention it, at least they bring mention to it in the film where, he's like, she wasn't quite herself. I mean, you must have seen that.
Well, yeah,
okay. And Dr. Verdegas was like, yes, it must have been, the narcotic that I gave her. Some people can almost act in a mediumistic way and almost take on the spirits that are around them, which I thought that was a pretty good explanation of her eeriness and almost like her being possessed of something else. Her not being herself in any way, and the house that they're in is pretty. It looks so modern and fabulous, but it's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
And Mr. Allison mentions that, doesn't he? He says something like jokingly, he's like, "Oh
yeah, if I was to he's an architect, is he?
Yeah.
Yes, if I was going to design a cozy insane asylum, this is the route I would take."
Yes.
Also, when she comes out and says all that shit, is when she asks Karloff if he's the host, that's when he takes her hand and says, "You'll have to excuse Dr. Verdegas. He is, what does he say? He is an unfortunate sufferer of one of the more common phobias."
He's terrified.
And no, it's worded so well. I wish I remembered an immense horror of cats.
Of cats. Yes.
I don't even know why. Okay, so Karloff knows this, and Karloff was some sort of enemy of war against Lugosi in the past, right?
Well, what he was one of the heads that was of their army. They were all in the same. Okay. They were in the same army, and he was like a high uppity up, and basically gave them over. To the Russians, and so many people were slaughtered, and so many people were then taken prisoner. Yeah. And so he is a traitor to his people.
But for some reason, he knows about Lugosi's fear of cats.
Yeah.
That might be a sign of something that went down in the past that we're never given a clue to.
Yeah, we're not given a clue to why he's terrified of cats. But yeah. Mm-hmm. He definitely... It feels thrown together, that moment, where he's just terrified.
Yeah. Again, everything about the cat seems thrown in.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just thrown together so they could use an Edgar Allan Poe title.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, it's not as much of a cheap shot as The Haunted Palace. Or The Conqueror Worm. The Haunted Palace was actually based on a Lovecraft story, but they wanted a Edgar Allan Poe title, so they called it The Haunted Palace, and The Conqueror Worm is based on a short poem. Yeah. And really, its original title was Witchfinder General. They just titled it Conqueror Worm to cash in on Edgar Allan Poe's name.
Witchfinder General is a better name for it because it's really all about that.
One of my favorite Vincent Price films.
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. As a witch, that movie really... Ugh. Like, I love Vincent Price, and in that film, I just fucking hate him.
You know, I think people need to... I'm sorry to sound snooty, but I think people need to pay a little bit more attention to Vincent Price films.
I think
every
so,
every time I see...
I agree.
Every time I see somebody on social media or something ask, what are your favorite Vincent Price films? What's your favorite Vincent Price film? People always just drag out the easiest ones to see. I mean, sure, if you like House on Haunted Hill the best, or you like House of Wax the best, that's fine. That's fine, I suppose. But Jesus fucking Christ, I find things like The Conqueror Worm, Witchfinder General,
So
Abominable
great.
Dr. Phibes, Theater of
yeah.
Blood, I find them to be tremendously more satisfying.
Absolutely.
Than either of the
Theater of
House
Blood.
movies, you know.
I like
like them,
but I think that...
I like everything Vincent Price was in.
I think people tend to say that because it's what they've seen.
Yeah.
Those
They're easy to
two
see. House on Haunted
films,
Hill is on every DVD that's ever been made.
It really is. It's fucking on everything. It's on everything. And yeah, it's just on all the things.
Yeah. Well, we're getting on a Vincent Price kick now, and and the dog is whining to go outside. So I think it's commercial time.
Yeah.
Want to do commercial time?
Yeah. Commercial
Okay,
time.
let's do commercial time.
Commercial
Let's not
time.
forget where we were.
Oh no, I know where we're at.
Okay. Oh right. Lugosi's scared of cats.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm scared.
We'll be right back.
We're back.
We're back. The Black Cat, 1943. 1943? Yes, 1943.
No, 1930.
1934.
Yeah.
1934.
Yeah.
Melissa Dexter.
You're just yeah, 1934.
Yes. So when we last left you,
We were talking about a phobia of cats.
yeah, phobia of cats. That woman's running around saying weird shit.
She is, and like making out with her
Yeah.
dude, and he picks her up and sweeps her away, and it's
Yeah,
like,
he puts her back in bed.
Gotta put her back in bed.
Yeah,
not
she's got to
doing
get a
so
rest.
well.
She's got to get a rest.
Yeah, she's on narcotics.
Yeah.
Because that doctor just carries them around with him.
Hey.
Even though he's a doctor of psychiatry. Well,
Oh
yeah,
shit!
he's
Back
got
in those
it.
days, that was probably terribly common.
Yeah, you're right.
Doctors just carry around
Dr.
psychotic
Feelgood.
drugs on them.
Right? Yeah.
So everybody goes to bed. Bella and Mr. Allison talk about Karloff being creepy. That's where they talk about
They switch
the cozy.
rooms, too.
Yes, they switch rooms.
Mm-hmm.
They
He
switch
says,
rooms.
You know, my room adjoins with Mrs. Allison. Do you want to switch rooms so that you could be closer to her?
Mm-hmm.
And you know at that moment, like, oh,
Yeah, there's something going to go on about the rooms.
shit. Yeah, at that moment, I'm like, oh man, Mr. Allison's gonna die. Oh shit. You know that. Oh, I was all nervous. It's like, oh no, he's gonna give his room away at the last minute. And then we get to see the...
Yeah, now Karloff goes into his
underground...
fucking catacombs. Where he keeps all these women, these dead women,
Yeah, it's
encased in like glass coffins mounted to the wall. They're like floating in these glass coffins.
Yeah, his museum of floating
Yeah.
death.
And he just goes in there and gazes upon them.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them.
It's amazing. It's so terrifying. It is so
It's fucking cool.
fucking scary and cool at the same time. And yeah, that's when I first came into my first watching of this movie was then, where he's just wandering around.
Oh, that late?
Yes.
Okay.
Through this like museum of floating death, and
Yeah.
it's so I just remember being like, what? Wait a minute. What is this? What is this? And oh my god, yeah. Scary. He goes into the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes into the room.
I think
Bella's not there.
Yeah, I think Mr. Allison's gonna die.
Gonna what?
I thought he was gonna die the moment they switched rooms. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit. He's gonna go in there and kill Mr. Allison, thinking that it's Dr. Verdigan.
When he walks in, isn't Bella also in there?
No, they're in another. He's in another room. They're just talking to each other. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're just talking to each other through the rooms, and they go to bed.
Yeah.
And Mr. Allison is totally like in bed. He like gets all like scrunchy and
right.
He messes up his hair.
Yeah. And Karloff walks in there.
Yeah.
And I'm drawing a blank. Then what happens?
He is, Mr. Allison gets up and is like, "Whoa!" And
what the fuck, dude?
Yeah. And Dr. Verdigast comes out and is like, like, what? What do you want? Because he does. He goes in and is like, "We have a score to settle."
Right.
Vetus. Something
Mr.
like
Allison's
that.
like, what? Huh? What?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's all it was. I thought he was like, I was set on terrible things happening to Mr. Allison.
Yeah.
At that moment, but that is not what happened.
No,
He
instead.
tricked me.
Instead, Karloff and Lugosi decide to go have a goddamn talk.
Yeah, they're going to go have a talk.
They're going to go have a talk.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking Lugosi starts demanding to see his wife.
Yeah, where's my wife?
Where's my wife?
Yeah.
Where's my daughter?
Yeah.
Bela Lugosi's got a fun voice to listen to.
Oh, I love him. I love him.
And I mean, I love his performances all the way up to that later shit. All the way up to Plan 9, even though he was only kind of in it. Did you ever see Glenn or Glenda?
Yes.
I love Bela Lugosi and Glenn or Glenda.
I love Glenn or Glenda.
Pull the string. Pull the string. That's my favorite Ed Wood movie. Glenn or Glenda.
That's a wonderful movie. I love it. I do.
Jesus Christ, how'd I get off on Glenn or Glenda?
I don't know.
Bela Lugosi.
Oh, yeah. Bela. Bela's so awesome.
They have an awesome dialogue together.
They do. He wants to see his wife. He demands to see his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so
does Karloff bring him? Is this when Karloff brings him down into the catacombs?
Karloff is like,
yeah,
all
she's
right.
one of my goddamn floating dead women. I kept her pretty. Look how pretty.
Look how
pretty
beautiful.
I kept your dead wife.
Yeah, and he says that, she should have, she died 2 years after the war.
Yeah.
And the way he says, this whole thing that goes on at this moment is so shocking and terrifying, and he's worshiping her while Bela is Dr. Verdigast is mortified. This is the woman of his dreams. For years he hasn't had her. He's been in this prison for 15 years. He knows this guy is taken her, and now he sees her like this. He is so horrified over it. It's an intense moment.
It is.
And then the other part of it is, Karloff, Mr.
Herr
Perlzig. Yes. He is ew, the things that what does he do to them? And the way that he's looking at her, and he's just like, I loved her too.
Yeah.
Fuck you! Dr. Vitus Verdigast is not so happy about that at all. It is. Oh. Yeah. He almost gets shot.
Yeah, Bela tries to shoot him.
Yeah, hell yeah. Bela's about to shoot his ass.
But it fucking... Here comes that black cat.
That black cat comes back.
To scare Bela.
Yes.
And he doesn't shoot Karloff
flying through the wall. It's like a glass wall or something.
Yeah, he falls through the goddamn wall.
Yeah.
The glass wall.
Mm-hmm. They're in the chart room.
Yeah.
And he falls through a chart or something.
This is where this is where Karloff keeps all of his charts and mummified women.
Her hair.
Her hair was
so
done up like
crazy.
the fucking Bride of Frankenstein.
Her hair was it was as if somebody was underwater.
Yeah.
So their long hair is they were going down into the water. I thought that was really beautiful.
It was
terrifying.
Strange.
Very, yeah. Isn't she beautiful? Oh, very intense. And it just gets weirder and weirder.
It gets weirder and weirder. So I guess everybody just goes to bed at this point. I guess everybody's like, okay, it's okay.
Well, right before that, he's like, oh yeah, we'll play our little death game. but everyone has to leave. We need to be alone.
Yeah.
Which, you know, you think at that moment, like, oh, okay. This guy's kind of... He's fucked up.
Yeah.
But he's not going to hurt them.
We still don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
So now, at this point, we meet the mystery woman in Karloff's bed, who is not dead.
No, she's not, but she's kind of like a weird zombie.
You remember? Okay, I'm sorry. You remember that song in The Comedy of Terrors?
Yes.
That woman would sing?
Yes.
That Vincent Price's wife would sing? Or she didn't sing it all the time. But at one point, I think it was that movie where she's singing, "He is not dead, just sleeping."
Yes.
And that's just what popped into my head when we talked about Karloff's bride in his bed.
She's not dead, she's sleeping.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
We keep talking about these other movies, and I'm like, we gotta cover that movie.
I know. So many movies, so little time.
No, he's going to bed now, and apparently all this shit has happened tonight.
Yeah.
She's like, what is it? He's like, oh, there was an accident, and some people are here. I'm like, fuck, I thought that was like 2 days worth of shit that just went down.
Yeah, no.
Not all in one night.
It was all in one night. She's like, oh, wow, what's going on? And he's like, hey, you know, you shouldn't go anywhere.
I don't want you to leave this room tomorrow.
Don't leave the room.
Don't leave the room tomorrow.
You know? That's some fucking creepy R.
That's a strange
Kelly-ass
request.
shit.
R. Kelly
Don't
shit.
fucking leave the goddamn room. Don't ever leave. Like, that's creepy. Completely creepy. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, she goes to sleep, and he's going to do a little bedtime reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he sits there reading the fucking Rites of Lucifer.
Yeah, I was like,
Before
oh,
bed.
shit. He's a Satanist.
Right. And the scene was obviously put there just so we do that. It's just a quick little extra thing. He's a Satanist too.
Bingo.
You know?
I just love it.
Because he sat there and read like 3 sentences. And then, well, time for bed. Put it aside.
And he, you know, it's at the dark of the moon, you know, the maiden, the ritual maiden must be found.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
You know, dark moon, maiden in white.
Mm-hmm.
We know where this is going.
Right.
Right?
When we see the 2 sentences, the 3 sentences, he puts it aside. He's like, well, sweet dreams.
He's like, all right.
Going to fucking sleep.
Yes. And then, I mean, what? They want to get out of there. Like
they want to get out of there.
Right? Like the Allisons are like.
Well, I mean, she's still waking up her first morning.
Yeah.
She doesn't remember anything from the night before.
No, Bela's like, oh, well, you got hurt, and she remembers that the car crash.
Yeah.
You know. And then it's like, I don't remember anything else. It's like, ooh, you weren't yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess those two decide to start making plans to leave, the Allisons. Meanwhile, Bela and Karloff have yet another awesome dialogue.
I know.
Over the chess table.
So good. About the girl.
And that is when they decide, because apparently I guess Karloff needs that girl.
Yeah.
And Bela's like, you cannot have the girl.
Mm-mm.
And they decide they're going to play chess for her.
Yeah, they're going to play.
They're going to play chess. And Karloff knows he's going to win.
Yeah, he straight up says, like,
he says, you won't win.
Won't win. Won't win.
But that's what they decide to do. They're going to play chess, and if Bela wins, then they're going to allow these people to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And if Karloff wins, then he gets to keep them there, and do whatever it is he plans on doing.
Yeah, he really changed his mind so quickly. I mean, wasn't he just, like, saying, hey, we'll play our little death games, but...
After the people are gone.
Leave.
After they're gone.
Yeah, after they're gone.
We have to wait till they're gone.
That's right. Key word is gone.
Not leave.
Not
gone.
leave. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That sly fellow.
But I think you're right. I think he does change his mind a lot. I think maybe I'm thinking too far into it.
I don't know. Maybe he knew it from the moment he saw her. He was like, ooh, my next, like... You know, but wasn't it supposed to be a maiden? And she's like, this is her honeymoon and shit?
I don't know if it was her honeymoon. I don't know. Does maiden mean virgin?
Yeah.
Do you need a virgin?
Yes. I mean, usually,
Well,
remember our episode of Countess Dracula? Remember
Yeah.
what happened to her when she didn't get herself a virgin?
Oh, yeah, it sucked.
It
didn't do anything.
It was not cool.
It didn't do anything. I don't think it did anything, did it?
No. It made things worse, I think.
I think it just made her... It only made things worse because it made her madder. It made her mad that it didn't work. I don't think it was worse. She was just mad that it didn't work.
Possibly. I don't know. I remember when that guy was like, every time this happens, you get uglier.
Oh, God, I don't want to... Oh,
We
God.
can't get into that.
I'm starting to
we
be
can't
like
do it.
getting into that conversation.
No,
I'm like,
we
no,
can't
that's not
do
what
it.
we're fucking talking
No,
about.
we can't.
We're not talking about Countess Dracula.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. Okay.
We're talking about satanic Boris Karloff.
Yeah.
I mean, Herr Perlsik.
Yeah, Perlsik.
Yes. Jalmar. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
And their game of chess.
right. And everything, Jesus Christ, it's all satanic. And these two guys just have such immense hatred for each other. Yet subdued hatred, it's a really strange relationship that Karloff and Lugosi have in this. And they milk it. They both work absolutely to their strengths in these roles, especially in these scenes together. They are fantastic together. And it's a shame there wasn't more and more films where Karloff and Lugosi were together.
Yeah, that's true.
In long scenes like this. I think The Raven's about the only other one where they're together in these long dialogues,
They're great
The Raven has
together.
some great ones too. In The Raven, Bela Lugosi's the bad guy.
Yeah, that's right.
And Karloff is a I think he's like a criminal who had worked for him. And Lugosi made him deformed in order... He was going to make him look different, but he made him deformed instead. I might be mixing it up with a different movie.
We found out that they were both part of the very, very early Screen Actors Guild, where they were still like meeting at people's houses undercover.
Yeah.
And, if they were found out, they would all be ruined.
Right.
They put their lives and livelihoods to create the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah.
Which is fucking amazing.
I love hearing when people like that do shit like that.
Hell yes. Hell yes. That's so important. It really is.
Yeah.
Because actors are, they go through a lot anyway, and at those times there was nothing in place to stop
you could work them
these
to the
people,
bone.
to work them to death.
Nowadays, they're a bunch of spoiled little rich kids.
I don't know
Goddamn
about that.
Hollywood actors. But back in those days, in the days of Karloff, they busted their ass.
Well, I still think that a lot of them bust their ass.
I'm half playing.
I know, but
But I hate rich people too.
your eat the rich stance.
I hate rich people. That's a different thing for maybe a different podcast. Maybe I'll think about a podcast where I just sit and rant about hating the rich. I'm going to start a YouTube channel where I sit in a truck and yell about it. Yell about hating rich people. It'll be a shitty truck instead of a fancy Ford F10 like all these motherfuckers have. All these YouTube. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
You know what I'm talking
I know
about.
exactly what you're talking about.
Speaking of, now is the time where the cops show up.
Yeah, this
The
is
cops.
our comedic relief.
Yeah, again, yet another example of that Universal Studios comedic relief. You need to throw it in, even in a movie this dark.
It's weird.
Then these cops come, and they're arguing about the best fucking cities in... What is this place they're at? What country are they in this movie?
They're talking... I'm not sure which country. Are they in Hungary?
Maybe. Let's say it's Hungary.
Well, I think they're speaking Hungarian.
That is true. There was some Hungarian speaking.
Yes.
We knew because we couldn't understand what was said at one point, so we ran it back and turned on the subtitles, and it said speaking Hungarian.
Yeah. And I was like, what?
So let's say it takes place in Hungary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
These two cops are arguing about, I think, the best city in Hungary.
Yeah, one is like, I was born here, and it is marvelous.
Yes.
It's the perfect spot for lovers. And the other guy's like, that's overrated. This spot is so much better.
So in this
It's
tale
so
of
great.
Satanism and dead women frozen in the goddamn basement and charts,
Yes.
We have these two bumbling fucking cops.
Yeah. One is tall, one is short.
Yeah. They look like a cartoon thing.
Uh-huh.
They look like Laurel and Hardy in their way, just classic comedic duo bullshit.
Yes.
It's funny. They're really funny. They are really funny, but it seems so strangely out of place.
I know. They just show up out of nowhere.
Now, as I was watching this reminded me of something I was just reading, and this is just I'm not verifying the accuracy of this. I'm not saying this is an accurate thing, but it was a theory somebody had. I thought it was interesting that, for decades in films, police were portrayed as like bumbling imbeciles, incompetent. Mm-hmm. But apparently by the time the 50s came about, the police didn't have as good of a relationship with Hollywood as one would hope.
Imagine that.
And so Hollywood felt pressured to portray the police in a positive light as opposed to being bumbling fools. Because Hollywood was so scandalous at the time that if the police wanted to bust everybody for everything they could bust them for, you'd have a lot of bad publicity for Hollywood. So the police in Hollywood needed to get along with the police and portray them in a positive light.
So hence Dragnet.
Dragnet was one of the earlier examples I saw of this theory, all that kind of shit. Yeah, Car 66, Where Are You? What's that other one? There was that Adam one.
Adam 12.
Adam 12.
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden cops are heroes. And they've been heroes on the TV ever since.
That is so weird.
Except in like hard crime dramas that are on HBO or some shit,
So
like The
weird.
Wire or some shit.
What a fucking trip that is. It's like, ugh.
But not these cops. These cops were bumbling idiots. And and you know what? The fucking Allisons are like, "Can you take us with you?
Yeah, please.
We would like to leave."
Yeah, he's like, "Could you give us a ride?"
And you know what? The cops are like, "We can't. We ride bicycles."
Sorry, that would be so inconvenient for your wife. I mean, shit, why didn't they just ask her? That's something that they don't do. She's not in that scene.
Yeah.
He is just like, that would not be right. Like, are you kidding? I would have sat on the damn handlebars. Get me the fuck out of here. If they would have asked her, maybe she would have been, and she does. She says later, at some point, he's like, "Are you feeling well enough to leave?" And she's like, "Even if I wasn't feeling well, I'm feeling well enough to leave. I hate this place."
Yeah, something like that.
And she calls him Mr. Pigsley or something, some shit like that, where she calls him like, Mr. Pigsley, and she's like, "I hate it here." So I think she may have chosen to ride on the damn handlebars.
I think she would have chosen to ride on the handlebars, like was offered.
Yeah, I think that she would have. They didn't even give her a chance. Some shit. And then they leave.
This was the 30s. They didn't let women speak properly in films in the 30s.
It's ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, they left.
Yeah, the police left. Never to be seen again.
Yeah.
They got back on their bicycles.
They're still like, "This is the best town. You should come to my town." "No, you should come to my town."
Yeah.
"My town." "No, mine."
Mm-hmm. They were genuinely funny. I laughed watching them. I liked them. But alas, they never came back.
No. And then that's it. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, they're like, "Okay, we're gonna leave."
Like, we need to go.
Mr. Allison tells. So Karloff and Lugosi decide they're gonna have this chess game.
Yeah.
They just start playing chess. Like, fuck it, let's play chess.
Yeah, Dr. Verdergast.
Let's do the game.
Trying to save her from becoming the next satanic, sacrifice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Every time Mr. Allison tries to talk to Karloff about a possible route of escape,
yeah,
Karloff is tremendously friendly, and it's like, is this all of your concern? Or something along those lines?
Yeah.
Then I think we'll get back to our game.
Yeah, he's very...
All of a sudden, he's like, "Stop fucking with me and let me get to my game."
Yeah, like, go away. He's very dismissive.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Do you play chess?" "Oh. Okay.
No.
Okay, then
I used to play a good hand of poker."
He's like, basically, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me play my game. Yeah, absolutely. He becomes very kind of menacing.
He's like, "Okay, I want somebody to take me to the train station."
Yeah.
And Karloff says, "Fine.
Okay.
That's fine."
Calls
he tells his servant, "Go pull the car around."
Yeah.
Okay. Servant comes back a minute later. Hey, the car's broken.
Yeah, gee.
Can't do nothing about it. Car's broken.
Car's just broken.
Karloff tells Mr. Allison, the car's broken. Is there anything else I can help you with?
He's like, can we use the phone to
He's
call
like,
the hotel?
He's like, absolutely. If there's nothing else I can help you with,
I'll
I'm going to get back to my game.
Yeah. He goes and uses the phone.
He goes, picks up the phone. It's fucking broken.
And then upcoming, the best, like, oh my God, it's the best line in the whole movie to me.
Which line?
Just that whole next moment where Karloff is like, when he tells him to go use the phone, you know, oh yeah, of course, use the phone. The look on his face, he's like a little boy.
Well, when the guy comes, yeah.
And he's like, like waiting for him to like react, you know, and he's looking forward to this reaction. He's just sadistic, and he's like, yeah. And then the guy, and mischievous, the guy is like, the phone is dead.
Yes.
Yeah. And he leans over and he looks at Lugosi's character, Dr. Vertigas, and he's like, did you hear that, Vetus? The phone is dead. Even the phone is dead. So,
and he's grinning the whole time.
This smile, this joy, this like mischievous joy. It was very, I loved it. So good.
So this is when Mr. Allison goes up to his wife and says, "Hey, pack up your shit.
Yeah, we need to go.
We are going. We're just gonna walk.
Yep. Don't even pack your shit. Leave it.
Yeah.
We're just getting out of here. We're getting out of here." And they do. They come walking down the stairs.
Yeah, they pack their shit.
They leave their stuff.
Well, yeah, they bring a thing or two.
And they go. And they're like, okay. He's like, don't worry about that. We'll send for it.
Yeah, Karloff says something like, "Oh, okay. We'll see you later. I'm getting back to my game."
Yeah.
And then they go to head out, and Bella's fucking servant is there, who Bela told earlier in the movie. I don't know why we didn't mention this, but he's like, "No, you have to do
his bidding.
Karloff's bidding
Yeah.
for the time being, until I tell you otherwise." Because that's the only way they're going to fool him into trust.
Yes.
Or whatever. I don't know.
He's
I don't
got
know.
some plan.
The movie's not absolutely logical.
Where he's biding his time. He's biding his time and waiting. But yeah, that giant,
he knocks out the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Pounds him on the neck and knocks him out, and the wife faints. She's a tremendously faint, happy woman in this film.
Yep. And she ends up in a different room.
Yeah, she's in one room, he's in another.
We know what's going to be happening now. I mean, all of a sudden he starts like playing the organ.
Yeah, he's playing the organ.
Bela's like, oh shit.
Yeah, Bela steals that key.
Yeah.
The key to what turns out to be Mrs. Allison's room. The ladies' room. And she fainted. She doesn't know. She's like, I saw your servant not fuck with my husband.
Yeah, where it's...
He's like, oh no, you don't understand. You don't understand. We gotta figure out how to get out of here. And then he goes into this whole thing about have you heard of Satanism? All this shit. The worship of evil. All this shit, That's what he's into. He's a high priest. He's the great priest of an ancient cult.
Yes.
That's what he is.
They're the 1930s idea of Satanism.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. It gets fantastic. And he's like, we gotta get out of here. Come on. We gotta go. She's like, what about my husband? And he was like, never mind him. I don't remember what his excuse was for wanting to leave the husband. And then she's like, and what about your daughter?
Yeah, he's like, what? They're dead.
Yeah, my daughter is dead. Oh, we didn't mention all that shit. We skipped
part,
over that whole part.
Yeah.
No,
where the younger Karen,
yes,
the daughter shows
the
up.
woman from Karloff's bed.
Yes.
The woman from Karloff's bed.
Yes.
She shows up in the room of
his wife,
Mrs. Allison.
It's his wife, yeah.
And she's like, who are you?
Yeah, I've never seen you before.
I've never seen you before.
Yeah.
And this is where Mrs. Allison finds out that this is Bella's daughter.
Yes.
And her mother had married Karloff, and she had died, and then he'd married the daughter.
Yes.
So
And
this
she
was
was like,
Bella's daughter, who's
"What?"
now Karloff's wife, and she's a real weird chick too.
Yeah.
You know, she's a weird one.
She's like under something too. She's not quite all her own self too. That's weird.
Yeah, and then she leaves the room, and Karloff comes storming in, and he goes into the room she's at, and you just hear a scream.
Screaming. Yeah.
And
I
so
think
that's
he kills
so
her.
that happened a little earlier. So I'm sorry we didn't go into that
Yeah.
when it happened. Either way, if you should watch the movie if you watched the movie. You shouldn't be listening to it if you haven't seen the movie. So you understand if we made a mistake, we apologize. You understand. So yeah, she's like, "No, your daughter's here." He's like, "What? What? What?" So
Yeah, and he takes off.
So yeah, they take off, and Bella is on the hunt.
Yes. And then they
Supposedly.
can take Miss Allison and prepare her for satanic
Yeah, Karloff's house servants.
sacrifice.
Yep, Karloff's house servants get her all ready. He's gathering up his congregation in the goddamn basement.
It is so badass.
He's got a pulpit that looks like something out of Cabinet of Dr.
Oh
fucking
my
Caligari.
God, it's so great. Them all getting ready for their satanic black mass is so cool.
It's really cool. They start donning their
It's
black cloaks and stuff.
good. It's
Karloff
really
comes
cool.
down the steps so ceremoniously.
Yes.
They're all silent
Oh,
before he steps in front of that weird pulpit.
it's amazing.
Starts chanting in Latin at them.
It's
All these great camera angles of them in rapture at his fucking speech,
Yes.
you know?
Each moment of that, all the Satanists. Oh, it's just
A
beautiful.
lot of pieces reminiscent of like weird European shit that was coming out at the time, or was coming out 10 years earlier, you know, that some of these Hollywood directors, they'd seen some of these earlier European directors doing silent films and
Yeah.
been like, ooh, you know.
Ooh, yeah. It's beautiful. The camera angles, all of it. The cinematography in this film is gorgeous.
Right.
Very, very beautiful.
Now, Bella's at the ceremony, all dressed up formally,
Yeah.
and as is his assistant.
Yes. Yep.
And I don't know why he was there. It's like we already know that him and Karloff don't trust each other.
Yeah, but maybe he's you know.
I mean, since Karloff won, does he figure that Vertigast is just going to let this go as planned? And not only that, but be a participant at the fucking ceremony?
I guess so.
And I didn't understand it.
Maybe he's just. I mean, they've been playing nicey nice through the whole
Yeah.
film, so he's just still playing nicey nice. But he's now
Seems
knows
like attending a
that
sacrifice
his daughter is going to be there, and I'm certain that he's going to try to save
Okay.
his daughter and, you know,
Okay, yeah, that makes
Joan.
sense. Okay.
right? Her name's Joan, Miss Allison.
Mrs. Allison.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes sense. I'd forgotten that
He's got to be the savior.
I'd forgotten that he didn't know yet about his daughter. That for some reason, I mean, he finds this out soon enough, you know. After he rescues fucking. Okay, shit, I'm getting ahead of myself. They bring in Mrs. Allison for the sacrifice.
Yes, and tie her up.
They tie her up. Karloff goes on to some fucking sermon again, some rant and shit, and Lugosi and a servant are able to. Yeah, a woman screams.
Yeah.
She's so terrified by this sermon that she screams. That's what happens, and that gives Lugosi the time
To save
to
Mrs.
save
Allison.
Mrs. Allison.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he finds his dead ass daughter.
Yeah.
Turns out that when Karloff discovered her talking to Mrs. Allison, he just wandered in there and fucking killed her.
Yep.
He just killed her.
Yeah,
Apparently.
that's it. Just killed her dead. She wasn't at right. She was like on a gurney, like dead. And
Yeah, she was on like a gurney.
I just that
And that's-
whole black mass scene.
Dude,
was
okay, so yeah, the
Beautiful.
Black Mass scene was, again,
God.
lovely.
so
Wonderfully
beautiful.
done. Much darker than most films of the 30s. That's the kind of stuff you don't expect to
Yeah.
see until, like, Mario Bava films in the 60s, you know, stuff, that's what it reminded me of, like Black Sunday type shit. And, Horror Hotel, the British film.
Yeah.
You know, those are I link those two for some reason.
This
Black
one
Sunday and Horror Hotel.
Absolutely blows my mind how dark it is for such an early film.
Yes.
Like I remember even just watching a portion of it, you know, from the floating Museum of Death, or Museum of Floating Death, on. I was transfixed and super into it, and then getting to watch it, you know, a second and third time, it just gets better. It's really good. Mm-hmm. It's really good, and I love how, just, I don't know, it's beautiful in its ghastliness.
It is. It's terribly ghastly, and it's beautiful in its ghastliness.
Yes.
Because it's a 30s movie, now it's time for the fisticuffs.
That's right.
Karloff and Bela are beating the shit out of each other.
Yes.
Tackling each other. They're rolling around on the floor until Bela's servant, back on Bela's side, comes and tears Karloff off of Bela, and they proceed to strap him up.
Yes.
By manacles.
They do. They chain him up to his
to his pulpit.
Yeah. No. They chain him to a whole different, his embalming rack.
Oh, right, embalming rack.
Yeah, they put him in chains in his embalming rack, and that gets really Bela.
That's when Bella's Bella's right in his face.
Yes.
Saying, "Do you know what I'm going to do to you?"
Yes.
And this is what I'm talking about. Bella's not a good guy.
Yeah.
Nobody does that shit and relishes it if they're a good person. Even if somebody wronged you really bad, you might want to kill them. You don't want to skin them. And that's what he says. He says, "You know what I'm going to do to you? Have you ever seen an animal skinned? That's what I'm going to do to you.
I love that part.
To take off your skin piece by piece."
Yes.
I love that scene too. One of my favorite lines in the movie The Raven is Bela Lugosi saying, "I like to torture."
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So this is our good guy. He's going to skin Boris Karloff now. Which we think he gets some of it done.
Oh, yeah. He gets some done.
In 30s fashion,
Mrs.
we don't
Allison
see it. We don't get to
screaming.
see it. Mrs. Allison screaming.
She's screaming.
Mr. Allison gets in there somehow.
Yeah.
And gets her. They start to take off.
No. He's struggling. Bela and her are struggling, and that's when that all goes down, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
shit.
It's pretty fucking gnarly. That's like...
Yeah, he's in the middle of skinning him.
Yeah.
And she's screaming.
She's screaming. He goes to see what's going on with Mrs. Allison.
Yeah.
And he's trying to help her.
And that's when Mr. Allison, he's like, let her go. And he shoots fucking Bela.
Yeah. He shoots him.
He fucking shoots Bela.
And Bela just wanted to help them.
Right. And skin that man.
Yes. And skin that man. And now he's wounded. Now it's like...
And then he comes and takes Mrs. Allison away. Karloff's still tied up to the rack. I don't know where his assistant ever met.
Well,
where Bella's
shot
assistant
too.
ever. Oh yeah, he got shot too.
But not by Mr. Allison. He got shot by
Karloff's henchmen.
Other henchmen. Yeah, his henchmen.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
When he was tearing Karloff off of Bela.
He got shot then, so he's down for the count.
And so Bela understands he's on a Universal Studios lot. That means there is a lever.
Yes, there's a lever.
Somewhere in that basement.
There's a lever.
That will make everything explode.
It will explode everything.
Much like in Bride of Frankenstein.
This is like, he mentions earlier in the movie that there's a lot of dynamite.
And that there's a red lever that'll detonate it all.
Yes.
Every madman's house needs a lever that detonates all the dynamite under the house.
Yes, the dynamite everywhere. Indeed.
So he does it, and Allisons, they get away just in time.
Yeah.
Just in time, they get to watch it explode behind them. In classic movie style, this is always the way this is going to go down. And
It's awesome.
And they jump in a car that's driving by, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre style.
So awesome.
Somebody's driving by, luckily, and they're able to get in the car and get away.
It's great.
And the next thing we know, they're in a train, and they find a book review.
Yeah, it's like years
in the newspaper.
Later.
Yeah, I guess it's years later. That's where I was confused when I first watched it, because I thought it was that night or the next day.
Years later.
But then they find a book review of one of his books, because they'd mentioned earlier that he's a writer.
Yeah.
They threw that fact around a little bit. And apparently he'd written a book about the events of that night.
Yes.
And this review said that you need to write more realistically, that you can't have something so fanciful that's just completely unbelievable.
Yes.
Ha 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 ha. Everything's wrapped up in a nice little bow. It says the end. It says it's a universal picture.
It's a universal picture.
Okay. The Black Cat. Fantastic film.
Oh my God, so good.
Dark as shit. Even with its
it.
misguided attempts at humor, it was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. We're talking really phenomenal.
Tremendously underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic performances from Karloff and Lugosi.
God, both of them. Oh,
and there was not
amazing.
one bad performance in the film.
No.
All the performances in the film were good.
For everything that it was, like, leading good man guy,
Right.
That's
just 30s movies, though.
Yeah, 30s movies guy, and his lovely good girl bride.
Yeah.
All of that. It was all well done.
Yes.
The young daughter, wife, person. She was very eerie, and every single person, I think, was just really good.
I think it's fun to find like gems from the 30s, because everything 30s movies were, from what I've seen, pretty formulaic. There were formulas, and I guess movies from all eras are formulaic.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I shouldn't.
In so many ways.
I shouldn't do that. But when you find ones that take the formula but they tilt it and make it memorable.
Yeah.
And so that's what the Black Cat did, The references to Satanism were fantastic.
Yeah.
As was the Black Mass.
The idea that he's got these floating dead women encased in glass caskets.
Yes.
What? That is crazy. That is some wildness right there. That's his collection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
if you haven't,
satanic high priest. Yeah.
Yeah. He looked like a satanic high priest.
I love it. Every bit of him is just so dark. His perfect coiffed hair, his perfect outfits, his super clean, weird modern house. All of it.
His
So
face
good.
all done up like Lux Interior, all just slightly pale
So
with dark eyeliner and dark lips.
God. Oh, so good.
Great. It was great. So I listen to a lot of these horror podcasts, and here comes the time in the show where you're supposed to give the rating of the film. How many do you give it? 6? Do you give it 5?
Why do we have to rate things?
Bloody skulls in a toilet. Do you give it 7? Bone humping robot machines. Do you do this? Do you do that? I'm not going to do it. And I'll tell you why. You just heard me talk for fucking way too long.
About how great it is.
About this movie.
How wonderful.
And about it in detail. If you haven't seen the movie, then you probably shouldn't be listening to the podcast, because we just give everything away. We're just going into everything.
All the things.
But secondly, I don't need to give it a fucking rating. You either know that you want to see it or you don't want to see it.
Yeah.
You know if you agree with me or disagree with me. You don't. These number ratings, they're archaic. They're goddamn archaic.
I agree. Let's do away with it.
I say not that I like Siskel and Ebert, but you know what? Their rating system was a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Yeah.
That works for me. And I'm not even going to go that far. Because you know what? There are movies that I would give a thumbs up that you would hate because you don't like a movie with this specific aspect in it. We talked about these kind of things earlier in the podcast.
Exactly. Yep. Indeed. But this one was phenomenal.
This was a fantastic movie.
And terrific. And if you've seen it, you should see it again.
Yeah, there you go. We saw it on Shudder, so we know it's streaming there. I think I saw that it's streaming on Amazon. as well. I don't know for sure, but The Black Cat, Universal Pictures, 1934, Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi.
Yes.
See it?
Love it.
Now for the shit that you hear on every fucking podcast. We are on most of the places where you can listen to podcasts. Please, we would love it if you give it a rating. If you want to give it a good rating. If you want to give it a bad rating, you don't have to. We don't expect anything. If you want to give it a good review, that's fine. Also, we have our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Where we mostly host movies. That was how we started doing all of our shit, but we decided we were just going to do everything. So there's also short videos and all the episodes of the podcast. You can find that on YouTube. Just look up Movies from the Madhouse. We'll pop right up. But most of our stuff is hosting movies, like Elvira style, Joe Bob Briggs style, that sort of thing. Not as professional as they do it, but
no, we're kind of punk rock stuff.
not as sober as they do it, but but it's there if you want it.
Yes, if you'd like to.
Yeah, go do that, like that, subscribe it. If you go to our Anchor page, you can give us money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll set up a
That's
subscription service at some point, some kind of Patreon thing where people get something. We're going to do that pretty soon.
Eventually.
Pretty soon. But until then, just go to our Anchor podcast site. Go to anchorfm.com, anchor.fm.com, I think. Anchor.fm.
Something
and look
like
us
that.
up there, and you can give us some money.
If you so choose. We would like it.
Coming up on the podcast next time will be my pick, and after that, I'm
Yes.
hoping to start doing guests. I'm not making any promises. We are going to do the first of our fans picks,
Yes.
and hopefully maybe get the person who picked that pick to be a part of to be a guest.
Yes, I'm twitching my witchy
We'll
nose
see.
on it.
We'll see if it
I'm
happens.
hoping.
And
Yeah, next
I'm
time
in
it's
talks
perfect.
with a director of I'm not going to say too much right now, but of a short film
Yes.
that is taking
I'm
the festival
excited.
circuit by storm.
Yes.
And maybe we'll get him as a guest on the podcast. Maybe not. I don't know. We haven't talked too much. We've just talked a little bit.
Hoping so.
This has, I hope, been our best podcast yet. It's our 5th episode. I hope it's been our best one. I know it's been our longest one.
Well, I've had lots of fun.
But
It's been
yeah,
very fun.
shit. I think that's it. If you're not sick of us talking by this point, holy shit. Holy shit.
We'll be back.
We'll be back soon. You can hear us say something new.
Exactly. I wonder what he'll pick. I wonder what it will
Oh, God,
be.
it could be anything. Sometimes I like to take her out of her comfort zone sometimes.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Sometimes if I'm uncomfortable, I have lots to say about it. We'll see what he picks.
Okay. We'll
Next
see.
time.
We'll see. We'll see how long this takes. We'll see what goes on. I don't know. We're still new to this, and I keep thinking maybe we'll get it right where we want it. But I think maybe instead it's just going to be an ever-evolving experience.
I agree.
I hope so. That sounds better.
I am Mistress Dandeli, your queen of creep. I've had a lot of fun with you tonight.
And I am Master Seth, your master of ceremonies. And until next time, we'll see you in your nightmares.